What's going on, my Cancerian collective? This is your Burning Questions reading. I don't know why I'm singing it to you. But anyways, this is your, how are we, how can we tell our story differently? Let me just move this out of the way here. How can we tell our story differently? And is sort of rewriting the stories that we've been telling ourselves. Now, this can be related to anything, really. Work, love, those are the two most common ones. But I think about it too in terms of potential. When we get into the granular details of our beliefs about ourselves, we can really lose ourselves in the idea of who we're supposed to be, and the shoulds, the could'ves, the would'ves, all of that, all of those details. So we're going to dive in here. But first, I would like to invite the angels, my guardian angels, my spirit guides, protectors, teachers, and their healing energy to this space, and I ask that it is a safe and brave space that allows for the fullest expression of our light, humanity, ascension, and healing. Okay, so let's do this, Gemini, Cancer. Let's do this, Cancer. It's been a long day. This is the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. I'll put a link in the description below if you are so inclined to check it out. I quite like it. Spirit, what messages related to stories that we've been telling do you have for Cancer? I'm hearing a ladder, climbing the ladder. Maybe it could be something about climbing the ladder. Truth be told, breathe, clean it up. So truth be told, breathe, and clean it up. I'm almost getting that you have to sort of address your vibration about the things that you love. Right? Truth be told, like we're telling truths about things that we love or people that we love or things that we love about others, because it's mediated here. It's mediated by this breathe card, which tells me that there's a bit of a slowdown and you're taking things in more intentionally. There's an intentionality. And the ladder to me can represent less about climbing the ladder in career. I mean, it can. So don't get me wrong. What I just saw here for those who it might apply to otherwise, if you're not, in a career like climbing the ladder place, is it's like step by step, like taking that one to the next one, two on the time. So it's sort of taking that step by step. I heard one step at a time when the time said two, but it's sort of this idea of baby steps equal to more than leaps and bounds later, right? And I think it could be understanding the cleaning up that you're doing, could be an aspect of, I'm hearing spring cleaning for the soul, which is not wrong, right? We're in Taurus season. And this is technically 21 is the world card in the Rider-Waite Tarot. And then we have the 14 here, which is the Temperance. So Sag energy, so balance. And I feel like there's a way that you're coming back into balance, Cancer, because you're putting things on pause. And breathe, this card is like the prioritization of things that allows you to put things in their right perspective as well, right? Because if our hands are full and we're in a hurry, everything is going to seem like a rush and like it needs to be done yesterday. So I think there's some call to like pause and just take a breather. It doesn't even have to be the whole day, just 2 hours, 3 hours or so. Give yourself a minute to reflect and just rest. Usually when I'm in that place of being that busy and I'm not reflecting and I'm in the kind of shadow of a busy period, what I end up doing is falling asleep because I'm so tired, right? So if that happens, I would recommend even just adding an extra hour onto, if possible, when you do fall asleep, right? I tend to go to sleep early and then wake up early as well. So, adding an hour on the end of the day going to sleep is sometimes a challenge. So sometimes it's just giving yourself that extra time. I don't know why rest is so important right now, Cancer, for you. But let's take a look and see, shall we? I get this impression that you're doing a lot right now. Like you're doing the most for so many people. You're doing a lot for people. And it is, it's not something that you're upset about. You like doing it, but I feel like your energy is kind of running ragged right now a little bit. Like I got the image of like a frayed carpet. Like that's how you feel right now. Like people are, and in some cases, I just got this impression of people walking on you a little bit, which the fire part of me wants to be like, really? Like that, a little protective of my creative collective here. But I know that you've got it in the end, Cancer, but just just know that I see that there's an effort that you're putting forward, and it's not for naught. Like there is a purpose to it. And if you like what you're doing and you're busy in that way, just make sure that other people aren't getting in. Like, do things to create boundaries and to protect your energy, right? So Spirit, can I get some clarifying messages here for Cancer, my Cancerian creative collective, for this burning question of how we're rewriting this story? I'm almost getting that you have to feel like, I'm hearing eligible to retell it in the first place. So maybe you feel like you're kind of bound to a specific path because you have one foot on it. Or maybe you feel like you're bound to a specific story about relationships because that's been what's the case for, it's almost like muscle memory is what I'm hearing as well. I'm just going to take a sip of water. Some of the joys of taking testosterone have been that my voice has been cracking more and more. Not a problem. Just a pause, right? Just a pause. So, my Cancerian collective, let's do this. Spirit, what messages do you have for Cancer, for Team Cancer here? This burning question. The Fool. I almost feel like this is representing your connection to Spirit right now. Like, this is your channel to Spirit. Like, this is like your guides are like whispering to you, like, come on, let's go, let's do this. You got this. But I feel like your arms are really full. Yeah, like your arms are really full right now, Cancer. What's going on? What is happening here? I heard overcommit. Oh, I've been there. I think that overcommitment happens when we are excited about something, but this is also probably a call for some boundaries. Yeah, like overcommitted, you need some boundaries, because what happens is when we get into that energy, Cancer, we can often start to hate what we're doing, even if we love it, right? And hate is a very strong word, but we really have a distaste, I should say, for what we're doing, even if we love it enough to put a lot of work into it. And it's something that I've, had to balance with things on here. Like, how much work do I put into it? What do I want? What's my goal? What do I want to put into all of this? Right? Yeah. What do I want to put into all of this? And I think that that's the story that Spirit is asking you to consider right now is, how much work do you want to put in, and what work? Wow. Okay. So what work that you put in will make you feel the most successful, right? Like what's your definition of success is what I'm seeing right here. So we need to first and foremost define what success with this thing that we are retelling the story of. What does success look like for us? What will that be? Right? And yeah, it's like you have to get really clear on that, because otherwise you're just going to feel like you're taking, or you're going to feel like people are taking advantage of you. First, so step one, get very clear on what it is that you want. And you don't have to show, you don't have to get down into the nitty gritty details of like, a vision board type thing. This is what I want it to look like. Nope, just three ways that you want this to make you feel. 3 ways you want it to make you feel. And then you'll move on from there, right? 3 ways that you really want to feel after this. I don't know why 3, Knight of Wands. I'm hearing impulsive, and I sigh because ADHD is I have ADHD, and that's a way that, impulsivity is something that it's a shadow that's taken many years to work with, right? So for me, I know it's almost like it's like taking calculated risks, right? And it's not about taking risks that are going to mess you over in the end, and like leaning into the excitement of doing things and taking risks and taking, being in this Fool energy. But I think it's about leaning into the Fool energy. And so this is on the bottom. So the 9 of Swords is on the bottom of the deck, which is sort of like the energy that I'm feeling with you right now, is this hesitation at making a leap to change the story, because it's almost like it's the one that you've put the most work into and that's brought about the most success, and you feel like it's a bit of a risk. And this could also be competitive work. Like there's something competitive about what you're doing, Cancer, where you feel like you can't stop, or you feel like you can't put things down. But this is also something that we have to be aware of, because that's really driven by ego. But I think that this is, and it can also lead to insincerity too, right? That 4 of Cups that we saw on the bottom of the deck, that 4 of Cups is like an insincerity. That's how, if we're internalizing the cups, that's how we show up in the world, is insincere and uncertain. we don't really like, this is thinking about what fires you up, and leaving enough energy for the long haul, and not believing that we have to do it all overnight too. So I'm almost getting that there's this way that you're kind of tempering your energy, Cancer, which is wonderful. Like, it's wonderful to see this here. Spirit, can you clarify some messages with this burning question for the breathe card here? This story that we're retelling and rewriting for ourselves. That you can love what you do. That it's possible to work really hard and also have, I feel like this is like, now one of the worst lies that women have been told in the society that we live in is that, you have to, if you want a career, you have to put a pause on love. You have to do all of those things. And it's almost like what I'm getting is this breathe, this pause is really helping you to understand that you can have both. There's not this either or, it's both and, right? I like to live life as much as both and as possible. And I think that this is something that you're healing here, this Four of Swords. I think you're healing this either or proposition that you've kind of created. And that could be related to the story that you're retelling, right? This just kind of fell out of the back. And so I think that this is, I think it's bringing an end to this. I think the pause is helping you to see that it's not serving you. And then it's been kind of in your head that you have to be this like superhero around all of this stuff. Yeah, Nine of Swords, worry, lots of worry about this. And so the Ace of Cups is on the bottom. And I think that what we can get bound up in, and bound up because Eight of Swords is on the bottom, what we can get bound up in is this idea that the harder that we worry, the better and easier things will be. Now, I don't know if this is the story that you're retelling, but relative to the way that you're changing your beliefs right now in this burning question, the energy of this question, I feel like there's something that you're pulling back from just for a hot minute. And I don't think it's something that you're doing, in this Nine of Swords energy. The breathe card is one of peace, right? Like it's relaxation. This reminds me of more Hanged Man energy than anything. But I think that you're pulling back and you're able to see more clearly that both things are accessible to you. And you're really trading in this worry energy for your Ace of Cups, right? This is divine love. This is compassion. This is, emotional intelligence. And this can just be you getting more emotionally intelligent about what you want, right? This is like emotional intelligence, but like kind of the shadow sides of it. Where we get so caught up in our thoughts that we can't recognize our emotions, that it's hard for us to connect with them because we're identifying with them in the ego, right? We're identifying with our thoughts. And that's where all of this is kind of getting a little bit mixed up here. So I think that this is really just a reminder that it's safe for you to have it all. Yeah, it's safe for you to have it all. You don't need to protect yourself or hide away. This is you. I think you're in more magnetic energy than you might realize, Cancer, around these stories that you're telling and retelling for yourself. Definitely. Can you clarify this Clean It Up card, Spirit, and just help my wonderful Cancerians get some further messages here on where they're headed in terms of this Clean It Up? If it's vibrationally related, how is this connected here? Well, of course, I know it's vibrationally related. Okay. But the granular details here. The Tower. Three of Wands. Got some jumpers. I think this is a reluctance to give it your all again. And that's definitely what you have to clean up in your vibration. Yeah, there's a lot of stuck cards here. So Seven of Cups is like indecision to me. And then we have the Five of Wands, which is conflict. And then, we have the King of Cups, but it's almost like it's coming out in reverse. The Tower energy is really, so the Tower energy to me can represent the things that kind of shock you back to life. And when I say shock you back to life, it's almost like there was a way that you were flatlining within yourself or your life or your beliefs about what's possible for you. And this is sort of like that, bringing you back to life. It doesn't feel great, but you're back, right? You're back. And I think that you're really looking at all of the things that have happened, and you're not entirely sure of where to go next related to this story that you've been telling yourself. And this could be just a belief that you've had. Like, do you really want to get rid of it? Because like, if the times that you considered other options didn't really end well, they didn't really end well. So I think that you got quite confused about what path to take. But the tower is Mars energy, some Pluto energy as well. I mean, I think about, I make that sound because I heard a reader talk about it in terms of like violence, and that is, I don't like thinking of the two of them together in that sense. And that's what just popped into my mind. But I think about this in terms of the ways that we are kind of harsh on ourselves. And I think the tower in this instance for you, Cancer, is this awareness that is bringing you back from ego. It's kind of bringing you back from an over-identification with what is and how you feel, so that you can see more clearly that what happened to you before, the hurts, the temporary setbacks, it didn't, when you weren't really sure, it may not have ended well, but this is also a card of your ships coming in. It can be in this sense. I'm seeing it in two ways. I'm seeing it in the sense of seeing your ships come in, but then I'm also seeing it in terms of this uncertainty. Like, you're not entirely sure. Yeah, again, King of Cups was in reverse, and then the Seven of Wands. Like, you're not entirely sure of how to move forward here. Can I get one card to clarify here, please, Spirit, for my wonderful Cancerians? Eight of Wands. Yeah, so forward movement could be travel. King of Pentacles. Oh, King of Pentacles and Hermit on the bottom of the deck too. So I think that this is really about the advice here is that you need to make sure that what you're doing, there's being invested in things, and then there's being identified with things, right? Difference. Invested in things versus identified with things. And I think this is a call for you to, you're already invested. That's, clear to me, given this emotional piece. Like, we can't get emotionally charged about something that we're not invested in. But I think that the key here is, just turning it's just a small shift. 1717 was just on the time. It's just a small shift to remember that you can be identified with things and be in this Fool energy, right? You can invest in things, and be in this Fool energy. But then there's a call to not identify with them. Because the lesson here of this heartbreak is that when you identify with things, the pain that happens isn't because of somebody making a choice. This isn't because of something happening that was a letdown. This is expectation, right? This is kind of expectations, and too many expectations I'm hearing as well. So it could be that this is a kind of expectation overload where things didn't really work out so hot for you. And this is messages about that coming in right now to you. But this is also the possibility of options that are actually moving you forward and moving things forward for you. So this isn't this disconnect. There isn't this like disconnect. And I think cleaning up the vibration right now involves grounding things and taking a look at and asking yourself, have I been identifying with or investing in things? And how has that really started to affect my emotions about this story? If it's about relationship, is the story that you're telling yourself, are you telling yourself the story of that you can't be invested in things because it's just you're not sure what's going to happen? It's a little bit too scary because there was a tower before that really hurt you, right? Is that the story about relationship and love? When it comes to work, did something similar happen? This Eight of Wands is, to me, it's the card of messages and travel. It's also forward movement, right? And fast movement. And when we think about fast dreams, I almost feel like this is a time not to question yourself too much. I think this is a time to go within and certainly reflect when you take this pause. But when you take action, know that you've cleaned it up first, right? We can take decisive action. We can take authentic, forward-moving action even if it's regressive action, we need to consider that and movement doesn't necessarily denote progress. Movement doesn't mean that we're moving forward in any capacity, right? The Eight of Wands is it's sort of letting life flow through you and getting aligned with what we want, right? This is not the marathon card. This is the sprint. This is the 100-meter dash to the finish line. So I think that for you, my darling Cancerians, this is a reminder that you've already run the majority of the race, right? You've already run the majority of the race, that this is just the last stretch of it, and that this is just a tiny part of changing and shifting this story that you've been telling yourself. I think it's one, I almost get that this is like the story of how you could have been in a Five of Pentacles, but you're choosing something different. And that's where this tower is like an inward facing tower. It could have been outward facing in terms of heartbreak, but I think that the shift that comes after the tower is something that you really leaned into, because there's a lot of forward movement here. So I'm going to pull from the Miracles Now deck to kind of close off this reading for you, my Cancerians. Can I get some... The qualities I dislike in others are disowned parts of my shadow. Interesting. So that could also be this indecision and not really being sure, and the heartbreak that we experienced. I read a book by John DeMartini. It has love in the title. I can't remember it for sure. I'll put it in the description below though. But he talked about in that book that we disown what we are capable of and who we are when we see it in others, and that's how we get into these shadow places. And then I dish out compliments sincerely and liberally. So I think this is really about seeing the best in other people and yourself, and that's going to give you kind of this access to a higher vibration. And don't do it just for the access to the vibration. Do it because you want to see these shifts, right? You want to see the changes. You might not know now, but you will. So think of someone very, very special to you. Now feel yourself bursting with love for them. And now mentally shower, drench, and soak them in love. Now mentally shower, drench, and soak yourself in my love. Now feel it always, the universe. So you might not know now, but you will. I think this is really about that sort of sprint versus marathon. I think it's also that wanting to move things forward, but being a bit uncertain. This sort of, I'm hearing hedging your bets. It could. I'm also hearing all your eggs in one basket. Very seasonally appropriate, I suppose. But yeah. There's a deeper reason for each of your questions. Seek it. So this is, this is that breathe card, right? It's almost like Spirit's giving you permission right now to go within and to really take a look and how can you rewrite the story that you're telling? Well, what's the reason for the story? Why did you need the story in the first place? 222 was just on the time. Okay. Guidance, attention, help, maybe. Love always. Criticism, never. The question was, what to give others, if anything at all? I'm going to read that again. Guidance, attention, help, maybe. Love always. Criticism, never. The question was, what to give others, if anything at all? Isn't it fun being you? The universe. So I think this is just a reminder that each of your questions has that deeper reason embedded into it. And that this is also, it's one of those things that's like, this isn't for naught, right? I'm going to pull from the chakra deck here just to give you some additional guidance. Integrity. Whoa. That's kind of explosive. Okay. So we have integrity. And to me, integrity is really authenticity and it's sincerity, right? We're aligning our intentions all together. I am aligned with my higher truth and am deeply and lovingly honest with myself. I listen to the truth in my heart and I know what is right within me, aware that many truths can exist. I am ethical and integrous in my actions. I have integrity. Yes, this is the crown chakra card. And these are a couple cards, but we'll go with them. So we have space. I have all the space that I need to flourish, grow, and express myself. I take up my space in all areas of my life. The space around me is clear, and I continue to cleanse and make sacred my space. I have space. And also that truth about taking up space too, right? How often are we told to shrink and play small or play like we don't know? And it's really, we realize that, a lot of people see it, see life as a game in that way, where it's like, play small, do this, do that, pretzel yourself into all of these different versions and variations so that you don't have to be yourself, right? And then we have truth. It is safe for me to align with and express my higher truth, wisdom, and knowing. I allow others to hold a different perspective to me and know that there is enough space in the universe for all of our truths, including my own. I am honest with myself and hear the resonance of truth in my words. I express my truth. Says truth. These are, it's quite interesting that these are connected here. And I feel like the one card that would be missing in this equation related to the chakras is the heart and the third eye. So it's almost like being able to see from the heart. Right? Seeing from the heart is what's going to help you most here too. So courage. I have the strength, courage, and willpower to face my fears and see my desires, dreams, and goals through to completion. I release the need to be anything other than who I am in order to succeed. I believe in myself and have the courage to fail and succeed. I am possible. This could be, it could be of help for you to watch the courage affirmations video from this past Sunday as well, Cancer. So just take a look at that. I'll put a card up here or over here. But courage. So having a bit of courage is important because we don't often connect courage and will, but willpower and will are so connected to, doing the thing that may make us nervous or worried or scared. And sometimes that's healing, right? Sometimes healing is scary. So it's about leaning into all of that as well. So we have integrity, space, truth, and courage. It's almost like I'm hearing you're stepping into your power. You're stepping into your own right now, Cancer. Ever interesting. Something to know too, like this could be related to the eclipse energy happening on April 30th, the partial solar eclipse in Taurus. The signs most affected, would be Taurus and Scorpio. I'm not sure why I said that because I was thinking about the Pluto retrograde. Oh my goodness. The Pluto retrograde is happening. I have some notes here. The Pluto retrograde is happening over, it's quite close to the, it's happening from April 29th, so very close to the eclipse, April 29th to October 8th, and it's going to happen in the signs of Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn in terms of who's going to be most affected by it, to my understanding. But I'm feeling like some of this is connected because of the tower energy here. I think that it may be in your best interest to do some reflecting, my darling Cancerians. And also to look at I'm hearing embrace the things you wanted to do when you were a kid. And that could involve, because Pluto retrogrades are about inner child healing, right? The healing that we do when we go within. Other channels go into it in more depth. That's about my depth. And it's not that I'm not wanting to do research on it for you, Cancer, but I see that I'm just seeing that there's this way that you might need to return to play a little bit and pull out of a bit of the seriousness, and that may be this clean it up. That could be a path forward for you. 2727 was on the time. So I'm going to leave it here, my darling Cancerians. If this resonated for you, please feel free to like and subscribe. It helps me to grow the channel and to continue to do this, which I love to do. It also helps me to kind of get found in all the beardy stuff going on with the YouTube algorithm. So there are other ways you can connect with me as well throughout the week and throughout the month. So feel free to check the videos that I have on this channel otherwise. However, if this is where we part, Cancer, I wish you nothing but a wonderful morning, afternoon, or night, wherever this finds you on the time-space continuum. Take care.